Sherisse and Debjit, and we are back with Esoteric Shifts. Hello. I'm excited. Are you excited?
Super excited. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. We are talking about spiritual awakenings this month. And we are talking about what that looks like, what that feels like, what we've experienced, and what you can expect from your spiritual awakening, and how you can kind of maybe pull that forward a little bit so that it doesn't take so long and doesn't require the 2x4s or the 4x6s or the cement trucks. Hello, cement truck. Yeah, I waited till I got the cement truck, so we don't want you to do that too.
Absolutely. Same here. Kind of.
It sucks. And why we all do that, I'll never figure out. But anyways, so I want to start with you.
Okay.
Because I think your spiritual awakening story is more interesting. Mine was really like a really slow burn over a period of like 30 years. But yours was kind of more immediate and like, okay, no, you're doing this right now. So
I know.
Tell us a little.
Okay. I'm going to tell my story, but you gotta let us in your story also, time to time, so that
definitely
we are both in place. Okay. Well, spiritual awakening, I will share the major bets, which probably a lot of people will be able to connect, which majorly are those episodes when I had my dark night of the soul experiences. Okay. The first time it came in when I was in my early 20s. And I remember that before my early 20s, actually, I was the kind of a person who was very much, a victim-like sort of a person. Okay. So many of you will be able to connect that the kind of consciousness, whether you have seen in yourself or with your friends or peers, who is the kind of a person who is like very protective, that he or she thinks that I do not have much qualities of my own, I don't have confidence on myself, I have no value in the world. I had a huge inferiority complex, like huge, as if like I am nobody and the world is a place full of heads and I'm just one little tiny dot who means nothing, has no value whatsoever, and that was like huge on me. And I was this victim type person who thought like the world is a crazy place and I don't know how am I going to make it. In fact, when I was young in school, this would seem a little unbelievable. That is, I used to think like this. I never dreamt, I was not the kind of person. This is the weird part. I never even dreamt of an ideal life or stuff like that. In school, I thought like after the 12th standard, when I pass out, my life will be a complete chaos because I do not have much skills, nothing, I was that kind of, dude. But after 12, something entirely different happened. That is the dark night of the soul dropped in. Okay. And existential crisis, finding out about meaning of life, why I'm here, why all of this suddenly become very, very urgent and important. I was the kind of a spiritual seeker when I was from a very young age, from 5 years of age, but this urgency was never there, like usually you seek your spiritual stuff, but you live your life. But this dark night of the soul episode was like, suddenly all these things are important. Otherwise, if I can't live my life, it becomes like a disease, either you can't get out of cancer or you die, something like that. It came in, lasted for 4 years, and it was very dark. Depression, anxiety, ascension symptom, fatigue, whatnot. Okay. Came out of it, and it was like a new birth. I came out as a warrior, as a hero. I got 2 superpowers. That is, number 1 is my intellect. Not that just did not have intellect, it does confidence on my intellect that I got, and the access to my willpower. With these 2 powers, I rose up to my hero stage of consciousness, and passions like entrepreneurship became a hold, and I delved into entrepreneurship and I did a ton of stuff. I became the go-getter kind of person. So that was the first awakening, in a sense, ascension, evolution, awakening, whatever, happened when I evolved to the hero stage of consciousness. So if, I guess with you also, there was a time where you were also in kind of a victim-like place and you came out and became the heroine kind of a person whom I totally know that who you are. Would you like to share some of your bets? What happened?
I have actually bounced back and forth a lot between victim and hero in my life. The victim consciousness, my mom was a little bit of a narcissist and my dad was absent from emotionally, which meant that I didn't have that strong core to fall back on. So every time when I was younger, I would pull myself out of the victimhood and into the hero consciousness. The second anything happened, I would drop back into what I felt comfortable in, which was the victim consciousness, which is never a good place to live from, because when you're living from your victimhood, you end up either making bad decisions or feeling stuck, feeling scared to make a decision, and just living from a really small place where you can't imagine anything better or anything different or anything that could potentially open your world back up and make you become a permanent hero in your own life. So, you know, from about the age of 9, I would say, I was constantly like, I would take a little step into the hero world and then fall back, and then take another little bigger step into the hero world and then fall back. And by the time I was in my 40s, early 40s, I was exhausted from this. I was in a terrible marriage, and I had spent the last 10, 15 years of my life at that point struggling to try and even find the hero. I was just like in victim mode a lot because nothing in that marriage was particularly good for me mentally or emotionally. So what I found was when I finally got the courage to go back into my hero state, everything started to change, and it became almost like a game for myself, like, ooh, what am I going to do tomorrow that's going to be amazing and fill me with joy and make me feel like this strong, powerful hero? Not thinking of it in those terms, but absolutely that was what my entire, you know, was, what am I going to do today? What am I going to do today? Right? I was biting the elephant one bite at a time. And shedding all of the crap physically, emotionally that I didn't need anymore. It was fantastic. And then what happened was I got to a certain point, but when you're in that fight or flight, that victim mode for a really long period of time, it really does quite a number on your health. So I had spent most of my life fighting those tendencies, but every day that I spent in victim mode was another day of damage that I was doing to myself physically. So that by the time I got to the point where I was, you know, kind of at the higher level of hero and pretty steady in there, my body collapsed. And it was like, ugh. And this happens to a lot of women when you are in your early 40s and you start to take, or late 30s, and you start to take back your power and you start to realize that you actually can live the life that you actually want to live and say screw it to everybody else. A lot of us, we end up with autoimmune disorders. We end up with cancers. We have heart attacks. We have weird shit happen that we can't explain. And for myself, it was Meniere's disease, which is an autoimmune disorder of the central nervous system, middle ear. And it was horrible. But what it did was it forced me to slow back down. And I noticed that rather than going back into my victimhood and becoming the victim again, I pulled myself even further along the hero's journey as part of that. So I think that was where I really realized that the changes that I had been making all along were actually taking big steps, bigger steps than I ever even realized. And then, I've slowly over the last 4 or 5 years been absolutely just like mind-blowingly expanding out of the hero state and into the wizard state, the priestess state for us ladies.
Yes. Wow.
And really owning myself, my gifts, and stepping into my real power, not just my warrior power, but my true core powers. And that's been an incredible ride. So much fun.
Oh my God, it's so good to hear, about your entire journey. It feels so good. I guess like our viewers who are watching this can also relate to a whole lot of things that you are sharing, the health challenges that came in, all the struggle of, going back and forth from the hero stage to back to the victim stage, finally stabilizing and then making to the priestess stage, isn't it? So anybody who is watching again, please write it in the comments, which part of our journey you can connect with. We'd really love to know about, what you are going through with your journey. Okay. So I have one question. Before you ask me a question, I have one for you. Okay.
Perfect.
I guess this is like a very one question that always comes up in my group, that is health challenges, and that comes with this, as you mentioned, like when you ascend to this hero stage, something which you have not done before, once you are new, and all this sort of things comes up. For you it was Meniere's disease, and for some other people could be some other chronic illnesses, and many people I find are having disabilities coming up, which is stopping them from actively participating in life. They are rising up to their new powers, but this health challenges which is present, causing a lot of suffering. What do you suggest to them? How do they deal with this? Because you have, and you are doing fantastically. You have come out of it and into the priestess.
Absolutely. So here's the thing, okay? I do believe that the health challenges, and I mean, you've got some health challenges too, which is, again, I think it is very, very common for men and women on their spiritual journey. You do have to break the body down in order to get to the next level. And it sucks. And I think, honestly, and tell me if I'm wrong, but in my opinion, it is one of the final tests.
Yes. I
totally. So are you going to go back to the victim and whine and cry and complain about it and sink into it and accept that that is who you are and that is all you will ever be? Or are you going to fight like hell, do whatever it takes, however weird, however esoteric, however anti-Western medicine it is, to try and help yourself? Because quite honestly, Meniere's disease is horrible vertigo attacks, horrible brain fog, the inability to walk a straight line. I looked like I was drunk when the first year and a half after diagnosis, after the onset of symptoms. It was horrible. I mean, I was pretty much the first 6 months before I found something that actually worked. I spent them in bed vomiting, and with like maybe 10 minutes between attacks. I would have an attack, it would last for an hour, I would fall asleep spinning like a mad top.
My God.
And I would wake up. Sometimes I would be fine right away, sometimes I would not. And it was just like this cycle of awfulness. I couldn't get off of the ride. And in my lucider moments, I mean, I couldn't string 2 words together for the brain fog. It was awful. In my lucider moments, I was doing research, because the medical establishment, they're like, yeah, we don't know what causes it. We don't know how to fix it. And there's really nothing. So one thing that does sometimes work is if we cut all the nerves in your ears and make you deaf, and you can't walk, sometimes the vertigo goes away.
Oh my God.
That's not an option. I'm sorry. No, you are not taking away my ability to hear music, my ability to hear my son's voice, my ability to know when I'm in danger, my ability to drive. No, absolutely not. So I looked for other alternatives, and I found one, and actually I found a bunch, and I found one that worked. And that was, and I mean, I'm not 100% yet, but I'm getting there. And I think that that's the key, right? Like if you are willing to fight like hell and you're willing to continue on your journey and you're willing to stay the warrior, then you kind of earn your wings almost. Whereas if you are diagnosed or you come down with something or whatever, and you're like, screw it, this is the end. I'm going to go lay down, wait for death. This poor me. How can this happen to me? Why? Well, guess what's going to happen? You're going to end up, started. And you'll erase all that progress. So be aware. And would you agree with that?
Totally.
For yourself?
Totally.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I remember myself going to these 2 dark night of the soul, and the last one, which happened in 2019. The major health challenges that started with was the anxiety, the depression, and the whole dark night of the soul. That was the mental aspect of it. But coming to the physical aspect of it, which lasted the longest, and I'm just coming out of it, you know, the digestion problems, right? It lasted for 1 straight year. Digestion problems like crazy. I had sleepless nights for months. I was not able to sleep. It appeared like, irritable bowel syndrome. Irritable bowel syndrome. And I was taking medicines, nothing was working, and there is not a lot of actual cure for irritable bowel syndrome. There is not. I also researched, but it's the same thing, trusting on my inner guidance, moving forward, in the journey, moving forward. It's like, if you keep moving forward with your rocket ship, you are going to come out of the stratosphere. It's going to happen,
Absolutely.
And that happened. It just came out of it. And with all the challenges that come in the spiritual awakening journey, I have noticed this pattern that after you come out of it, it's like you become an up-leveled version, as if like it all had kind of a purpose to change the circuitry of us in a way so that you can embrace the new us, confidently. That's how it always appears to me. Unusual.
Absolutely. I'm totally right there with you. It feels like you're being launched into space, and the symptoms of being launched into space include anxiety, depression, fear, a lot of fear. There's the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, certainty, uncertainty, significance, love and connection. And then the top 2, well, I guess this is more Tony's. And then the top 2, which are contribution and
the last one was contribution. The second one was something else.
I can't remember. Anyways,
growth and contribution. Right?
But it's that certainty, right? And what happens during your spiritual awakening is you're lacking that certainty. And then you get a little bored, and then you need some uncertainty, which is kind of where you're at right now. And then you need some significance, and then you need to feel like you are if loved. You feel like that connection with other people. But yeah, it's an interesting moment when you realize that these things are the things that are holding you back. Like that need for certainty is the thing that is keeping you stuck in your victim. Right. And that when you let go of that need for certainty, or you get that need met at the level that it needs to be met at, that's when things shift. That's when they really start to just like power through the rest of them. And then pretty soon you're up at the top and you're like, how can I give back to the world? How can I improve the lives of others? And it's funny that we do that. That's the way the hierarchy of needs happens, because what I find with a lot of healers and spiritual advisors and all that kind of stuff, they're still stuck in that my certainty isn't quite there yet place. And yet they're trying to help other people because they're empathic, right?
Yes, true.
So, but you can't help other people unless those first 4 needs are being met at a really high level, and you have that really strong, secure base.
True.
I mean, you can help them a little bit, but you really get good results. And you call in things when all of those needs are being met at a really super high level, and you're like really confident in yourself.
Yes. Wow.
Because if you're not meeting your needs, you're lacking it. You're going to lack confidence because you're not going to feel secure within yourself. That inner child is still going to be screaming in your ear, poison, because you just don't, you're not meeting her or his needs enough. And if you're not meeting your inner child's needs, they're going to sabotage everything you do.
My God, that's going to be another topic. Definitely, would like to talk about this whole inner child thing. Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we do need to talk about the inner child. But yes, so that's kind of the spiritual awakening, I think, in a nutshell, right? Like we kind of.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
The symptoms of it are you're curious. You're ready to move out of victim mode permanently and into your hero mode permanently. That's when you're starting to do your spiritual awakening, and you're going to find some physical things go wrong.
Yeah, totally.
We're so sorry.
Absolutely. Okay, Sherisse, I would like to ask you one thing, because you have been helping women, you have your own, stuff that the way you are teaching people to go through your spiritual awakening. Would you like to share with our viewer how you are helping women and people with this whole, awakening journey?
Yeah, I help people with exactly what I just talked about, the whole idea of finding that that base level for yourself that is solid ground, so that you can move through into your higher self, so that you can accomplish the things that you want to accomplish, so that you can create the life that you actually want instead of the one that kind of sucks that you're stuck with. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. I love doing it. I teach women how to activate their intuition, how to figure out what's actually important to them, because a lot of times, especially middle-aged women, we've given our whole lives. We don't know how to give to ourselves instead of to other people, because we have kids, we have spouses, we have all the things, and bosses and all the things, and friends. And so we're giving, we're sharing, we're all the things, and we end up empty and not feeling that certain base of certainty and uncertainty and significance and love and connection, because we feel like we're doormats. We feel like we are the base and everybody else is using us to feel that for themselves, but we are not finding it in ourselves. So that's what I do in a nutshell.
That's amazing. So somebody's going, if somebody wants to work with you, what they got to do?
They can come find me in the shift in my Facebook group and learn a little bit more about me. And I do quick weekly teachings in there and a bunch of stuff. You can ask me questions or hit me up on social media. I'm around. I don't do Instagram, but yeah, come hang out with me. And just so that everyone knows, Dejit and I are talking about the victim and the hero, the warrior and the wizard. And those are terms that Dejit has coined for his process, or within his process of ascension and helping people figure out this spiritual awakening stuff and move from I'm stuck and I don't know how to move forward. I don't know what to do to get unstuck into things are actually flowing now. That is one thing that is really, really important, because it's really easy to get stuck in this journey. And if you have been stuck and you're thinking, wow, I just can't even figure this stuff out, let me tell you, this man right here, I'm going to just do a little shout out here. Before Dejit had his awakening, we knew each other a little bit. And I had probably worked with 5 other people trying to get myself on, maybe more than that, because I have a bunch of friends and stuff too, trying to get myself unstuck, trying to figure out where the block was money-wise specifically, but for everything. I just couldn't figure out, you know, I crashed because my health got bad. I was on this awakening journey and I was really feeling really stuck. And working with you, within 4 months, everything started to shift. And now it's like, okay, can we slow this down a little bit, please?
Amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's amazing. So if you're wondering about feeling stuck, this is your fella. You need
Thank
to
you so much. Thank you so much. I have a Facebook group. If you're a light worker, if you're an empath, you know, join me, you know, in my Facebook group. Both our, you know, contacts will be given in the description of this video.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Come hang out with us. Yes.
Absolutely. Hang out with us and subscribe to our channel and click the bell notification. We'll be releasing one new episode every month. Right.
Absolutely.
Okay. Any last message to our viewers about the spiritual awakening journey? Anything you want to tell them?
Okay. I have last thing, and then I'm sure you have something last that you want to tear to.
Okay.
So my last thing is, don't be scared of it. Embrace it, because it isn't scary unless you make it scary. It can be incredibly empowering. Trust that you are in the right place at the right time.
Absolutely.
And don't go back into that bloody victim, because barf. That's all I've got. What have you got?
Wow. Wow, that was fantastic. Wow. Okay, if I have to say something, you know, it's the same thing that I always say, you know, when you're going through this intense dark periods, you know, you might feel that you are alone. You will feel that, you know, there is nobody who is going through the same suffering as you are, and you are alone. And in this, nobody is going to be able to help you. And I felt exactly that way, that it's all me. Yeah. But what I actually found out, that you have this inner guidance system right within you, inbuilt. It has always been your intuition, your own personal guru, which is constantly giving you signals how to navigate through this awakening journey with the least amount of struggle and suffering, with, you know, harmony and ease. If you just connect with your intuition, with your inner guidance system, you will be able to come out of this whole, you know, stratosphere and come out of it, and you find yourself in space, you know, with light and everything. So all you got to do is, you know, trust your intuition in this. I did not used to trust my intuition, but when I started trusting it, I saw that it was the superpower that I never had. So
absolutely. Right there with you. Absolutely.
So that's what I was thinking. Yeah. So I hope you guys have enjoyed our, you know, video, our session. Subscribe to our channel, click the bell notification if you have not already, and share in the comments which are the things you connected with. Any challenges you are going through, leave it in the comments. So meet you guys again soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye.